Hello, everyone. I think that we are live. My name is Michelle Ross. I'm the Director of Clinical Services for theDr.com. And I'm going solo today. Dr. Tom cannot be with us, so he asked me to fill in for him. And our topic today is tips for combating stress and cultivating a wellness mindset. And this is such an important topic. And I talked to, let's see if I can change this so that, I don't know why. Am I live, Tiffany? Can you see if it's showing up on Facebook? Because it looks like the picture that's showing up is just the clinical services. Tiffany's here with me. She's one of our team members and she's, okay, it looks like it's working. Okay, let me just click here so I can be on Facebook with you and see what we're seeing. It's gonna speak in stereo, so let me get the volume down here. Hello, everyone. Okay, great. All right, so this topic is something that I talk to every single client about because it's so essential to wellness. And one of my close friends, he's a functional medicine MD, Dr. Anoop Kanodia. We talk about this all the time and debate what percentage of wellness this is. So is it the 99%? Is it the 90%? It's going to be different for everyone. So for some people, it could be the 50%, but it's a really critical part of functional medicine that's often neglected. I personally love the test results. I still nerd out when test results come in and I get to review them with clients. I absolutely love that. I love the nutrition aspect of it. And there's so many parts of functional medicine that I love. And this aspect of cultivating the wellness mindset, of learning how to combat stress or to deal with stress in a healthy way is just so important, and yet can be really ambiguous, right? Many of us have tried to meditate and we just feel like we have a monkey mind and it's so hard to know if you're doing it right. And I really think the only wrong way to meditate probably is not doing it. But I want to share with you today some of the things that I share with the clients that I work with. And I hope that one of them resonates with you, one or more, and that you, if you aren't already doing a daily practice of something in this realm, that you start. So that's the purpose of today. Before we get into that, though, I want to, we want to share the betrayal solution link for you to register for that. For those of you that don't know, Dr. Tom and Marzi worked hours and hours and hours to create this documentary. I'm not sure how many people they interviewed, but it was, I think, around 80 different people that are all talking about how it's the topic of autoimmune and how our body betrays us. I know some people get confused and they think it's like on, marriage. It's a marriage seminar. It's not. It's on autoimmunity and how our body can betray us. So Tiffany's going to post that link. And if you haven't already registered, we really encourage you to sign up for that. It's free and you can watch all of these really important interviews at absolutely no cost to you. So that's the beauty right now in this space, is that there's so much valuable information, and it's at no cost. It's just the cost of time, right? Of just sitting down and watching. I love propping up my iPad while I wash dishes or while I'm food prepping to watch some of these different summits. Okay, and then last week there was a contest for people who shared the betrayal link at the post, and the winner is Kristen Kemery. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but congratulations, Kristen. Thanks so much for everyone who participated in that. And Kristen, the team will be contacting you in a private message to set up your free 15-minute consult with Dr. Tom. So that will be coming. Watch for that in your email. So as we get back into the topic of today, the vast majority of people that I work with have autoimmune. Not everyone, but since autoimmunity affects 1 in every 5 people in the United States, at least, that's the minimum estimation, then a lot of people that I work with, that's at least one of the root causes of why they're not feeling optimal. And if you think about the concept of autoimmune disease, and it's our body attacking itself, there is a theory in this space that negative self-talk for years and years upon end, when we're attacking ourselves where nobody else can hear, but we're doing it in our heads. Sometimes if we spoke to, I think, like if we spoke to other people the way we speak to ourselves, we wouldn't have any friends, right? It's so easy to be so self-critical in this current environment with all the perfection around us, and to feel like you're not enough. And I think that there really can be a connection with self-attack, mentally attacking ourselves day after day, of not feeling like we're enough, and having some aspect of that associated with autoimmune disease. So just think about that. And if you have been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, just think about the self-talk, and maybe what you told yourself when you were a teenager, or what you may still be telling yourself today. So I have created a document that we're going to share at the end. Tiffany has it, it's a PDF, and a lot of this I share with my clients. So I'm giving you all of this curated information that I've either tried myself, or that I know works for people. And so I just wanted you to have as much variety and as much information as possible. So you'll have all of these links. And we'll just share it at the end so that you can just follow along. I'll be sharing screen and sharing websites to some of these. And the first one that I want to talk about is called Dynamic Neural Retraining System. And this is a significant commitment. It's a 6-month commitment of 4 15-minute training segments today. But any of my clients that have done it, it's provided exponential healing. It's really profound. It's really all-inclusive. So the creator of this, Annie Hopper, she's amazing. I've met her. She's just such a wonderful human being. She became very ill herself. And so she dug into all of the research on how we can rewire our brain and put it all together in a program. And she used it for 6 months to heal herself. And then she created this program. They do monthly 5-day training seminars, but they also have the same training available for you to purchase in a DVD set. And then we mentioned to them so many times that so many people don't even have DVD players anymore on their computer or in their homes attached to their TV, that they also have an online portal where you can watch the same exact 5-day training, and you can watch it online. So it's typically 5 days, but one of my girlfriends came up and we powered through it in 4 days. So we started Friday at noon and we finished Monday at noon. So you can power through in 4 days. We didn't do a whole lot else besides walk and prep food and watch the DVDs. But it was so worth it and so valuable, and you just get so much out of it. And she teaches you exactly how to do these 4 15-minute training segments that rewire your brain. So any of you that are chronically ill, you know that you're chronically ill 24/7. You don't really even get a break when you're sleeping. It's just all consuming in life. And then you notice that your friends and family are so worried about you that they start asking, how did you sleep? And how are you feeling? And pretty soon, just every discussion, everything becomes about your symptoms and your illness. And we don't think about the times when we felt great and vibrant and were healthy. And we don't spend a lot of time looking to the future of when we are going to feel vibrant and healthy again. We're just kind of in this spiral of one baby step in front of the other, trying to get through the day. And so this program uses science, research to help you to take an hour break from your illness, to spend time remembering amazing times when you felt vibrant and healthy, and to also spend time visualizing and saying out loud what you want in the future. So it's really profound. It's so much more than that. So have you ever done anything stupid that you felt was stupid? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. Everyone thought that was so stupid. And then you hit rewind, play, and you just keep thinking about it until you've made yourself nuts. I hope not. But usually most people say yes, Michelle. So this program helps you to stop that. You stop those pathways of the past where you just kind of, if you go down that negative spiral, she teaches you tools to be able to stop it so that you're not just going over and over the negative. Have you ever noticed that if something bad happens, we call our mom, we call our brothers and sisters, our cousins, our best friends, and we tell the story so many times that we've now embedded this negative story literally at the cellular level. It's now part of our DNA. And yet, if something positive happens, we maybe will tell one person, or, but we maybe don't want to tell people because we don't want to be bragging. So this also like gives you a 6-month break from telling those negative stories, of having people ask you, how are you? Instead, you encourage your family and friends to ask you what's going well. So do that as a favor right now for yourself. If you have a chronic illness, just ask the people that are closest to you. Instead of asking how I slept last night or how I'm doing, just ask me what's going well, and just change the language of your day-to-day to focusing on what's going well in your life, right? So this is literally taking a break from the news, because the news is like the fraction of 1% of people on this planet that had a bad day. None of us right now are on the news, but we're having good days. So it's taking a break from all of that negativity of listening to negative music. I heard the other day that song, I'm a loser baby, so why don't you kill me? I was like listening to the words of songs, and I'm like, that is crazy that we're putting that into our brain, because that goes into our subconscious. So spending time creating, this is later on the list, but I'm just going to say it now. Like, I have a playlist called Joyful Jams. You can name it whatever you want. And I have an example of a Spotify list of just uplifting fun music that makes me want to dance, that makes me want to smile, and just really paying attention to what we're putting in our heads. Are you constantly watching these cortisol-inducing TV shows or movies? Because that can create this state of chronic stress. So taking a break from that and watching things that make you laugh, that's all part of this program. And it's just a really beautiful approach. And I'm just so grateful to Annie Hopper for creating it. And my clients that have done it, I've seen exponential healing. I've seen healing with people really close to me, and it's such a short amount of time, going from being bedridden to having huge art exhibits in, it's like, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So it's amazing what happens when we change our mindset. So I'm going to share screen right now for this website. And what I want you to do is take the Self-Assessment Questionnaire. So that's right here, and just go through. And if you answer yes to 5 or more of these, then you're likely a good candidate for this program. And then also the success stories. there's like several pages of success stories, and many of these you're not going to relate to. Some of these people were just horrifically sick. This girl right here was in a wheelchair, and now she walks and she has a baby. But just knowing what these people had before, and then the course of doing this program, how they got well. So there's 4 pages. Again, I propped up my iPad and watched these while I washed dishes and while I food prepped. So that's a good way to just kind of see how this has transformed all of these different people's lives. And Annie Hopper was on the stage at the IFM annual conference a couple years ago and shared this. And this is the #1 recommended program at the IFM, the Cleveland Clinic Functional Medicine Department. So they recommend this to a lot of their patients. So on the document, I'll have the link to all of that. The next product that I want to talk about is called Heart Math, or Inner Balance. And this is a type of breathing that's really, really well researched. And you do 5-second inhales, 5-second exhales. So people that have Aura rings, or if you just, at the end of this Facebook Live, if you just take a stopwatch and count your breaths, count your inhale, exhale, that's 1 breath for a whole minute. Most of us are literally hyperventilating our way through life. So most people are breathing 17 to 21 breaths a minute. And the goal is that we should only be breathing 6 breaths a minute. So it's a 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. And this is not something that we can just turn around in a day. Like with anything, we have to practice it, right? We have to practice it until it becomes part of our DNA. So that when you get in those stressful situations at work, or with your, with your kids, or with family members, whatever, any stressful time, that's when we want to practice this, so that in that moment we can slow down our breathing. So I'm gonna show you that there's this you can do absolutely free. Okay, you can go to your stopwatch and you can inhale for 5 seconds and exhale for 5 seconds. But there's also an app. So this is a device that you clip to your earlobe. And then as soon as it's clipped to your earlobe, it will connect on your phone. And I think they have this for both, for all types of phones. And it will create a session for you. And when you hit start, it will show you, there's various screens that you can look at, and it will indicate when you inhale and when you exhale. And it will give you little tips. It will let you know if you're in a state of coherence, which is the equivalent of meditating. And it will give you little tips to help you get there. So one of them is to smile. One of them is to breathe through your heart. So just do that. If you just do that with your stopwatch on your phone right now. If you don't have this device, you don't have to go out and buy it. I think right now it is on special on the website. So I'm a big fan of doing whatever it takes to help you get there. So if these so-called toys or these different devices, if they help you do it, then invest the money in it. It's worth it, right? And so maybe try it for free. If you like it, then maybe you want the app that's going to help you. Now, the inner child in all of us loves to get points and rewards. And so there's that aspect of it too. And you can up level. As soon as you've mastered one level, it will take you to a higher level. So let me share screen on. So they have different, Heart Math is the website, and they have different sensors and different things you can buy. And this is the basic one and the easiest one to just do at home. But I'm going to open up the stopwatch right here, and we're just gonna all do this together, okay? Because I want you to feel it. So see if you can just get in a comfortable position. And when I hit start, we're going to inhale for 5 seconds and then exhale for 5 seconds. And the beauty of this is where with meditation, we can have a monkey mind and our mind can wander everywhere. When you're watching something and it's in 5 seconds increments, your mind doesn't really have a chance to wander off. So we're just going to do this for a minute, but I just want you to feel it just even after a minute. And I'm all about what's realistic. If I say you should be doing this for 5 minutes twice a day, you could think, okay, that's too overwhelming. I'm not going to do it at all. But if you just aim for 1 minute once a day, and once you've got that down, do 2 minutes and work up, that's great. Just start, right? With most of these things, it's actually just doing it that makes the difference. So in the dynamic neural retraining system, she talks about how the limbic system of our brain becomes damaged in chronic illness. And often that limbic system in the brain kind of rebels and prevents us from desiring to heal this. So we have to override that. But okay, so here we go. You can put your hands on your heart if it helps you to remember to breathe through your heart. You can smile, and let's just do this together. Here we go. Okay. I hope you tried it with me. Just feel how you feel. To get more oxygen up to your brain, you feel calmer. Just notice how you feel for a second. But it's as easy as that. That's not hard, right? I think that we think like it has to be hard, and it doesn't have to be hard. It's just something that can be so beneficial. We need oxygen at every cell to be healthy, and we're shallow breathing, we're hyperventilating. And so just taking a break and reteaching our bodies how to breathe is really important. So that's heart math, and you'll have the link on the PDF to that heart math inner balance. And some of you, if you're seeing a functional medicine practitioner, they may have heart math in their office, and there's devices that for heart math that you can have in a medical office that you can go in and learn how to do that. And I think there's also heart math coaches where you can learn how to do it online, but you can also just start, right? Okay, so the next one that I really like is something called Muse, and it's a headband, and you put it on, and you have to make sure that it's connected to your head and behind your ears. And then you have to have some kind of earbuds or listening device. And then you download an app to your phone. And this teaches you to meditate in a different way. So you have a choice to choose ocean sounds or forest sounds. There's several different options. And then every time you hear like a storm, that's because your brain is out of coherence and you need to calm it down. And once you get into coherence, you hear birds chirping and it keeps track. So over time of doing it, it tallies the improvements that you're getting with meditating. So if it seems daunting to just sit down and meditate, then something like Muse can do a really great job of being a fun tool to help you, because it's going to tell you when your brain is not in a meditative state. And then it's also going to let you know when you are. So there's that that reward part of our brain that loves to hear those birds chirping, and we want to hear more of them. And so it's more likely that we're going to get in that state more often. So that's called Muse. Again, that link is on this document. The next link I have is for various different ways that you can meditate. So I'm sure many of you have heard about transcendental meditations. I would love the loving kindness meditation, and I have a link to that. That's something that you can read and repeat, and you can direct it towards yourself. May I be happy, may I be safe, may I be healthy, peaceful, and strong. May I give and receive appreciation today. There's no really wrong way to do this, but you'll find if you Google loving kindness meditation that there's a lot of different versions of that. And then you can direct it towards somebody else. So somebody that you love, somebody that you're having a challenging time with, you can direct it towards them. So I have the link to just one version of how to practice the loving kindness meditation. I also have the link for, I think, 3 different apps. And the apps I haven't used myself. I've heard good things about them, but you can also Google like best meditation apps and do a little research there if you find that would be helpful. I know on Audible, every now and then they have free guided meditations that you can download. So you can check that out if you have an Audible account. This is one that Dr. Kanodia told me about, and I'm really liking it. It's called Inner Talk, and it is another really well-researched. It's music or nature sounds with subliminal messages. So if this scares you a little bit and you're like, oh, I don't want to be putting subliminal messages into my brain, there's a PDF of exactly what the messaging is in the background. And I'm going to share a screen on this. And there is literally like every topic you can imagine that you can get an Inner Talk soundtrack for. So if you look for ones that just say subliminal, those are ones that you can just listen to in the background. So Dr. Kanodia literally has it in the background in his office all day long. I'm not able to do that because I do most of my consults via Zoom, and for some reason the computer like picks up the sound. But when I'm writing protocols or when I'm just around the house and I'm not watching The Betrayal or another documentary, I'll play this. And it's just amazing how it just shifts your entire energy. So there's a couple on health and wellness. I have, I think I have this one, the Healing Accelerated Healing and Wellbeing. So watch out for if it's Ozo, or there's another name besides Ozo, and those you have to listen with a headset. So that would be like a meditation where you're literally listening with a headset, maybe lying down or sitting. But the rest of them can just be played in the background. And I'm sure you'll find some on here that could be really amazing for your kids and learning. If any of your kids are having difficulty with learning, bedwetting, successful children, then this is something that you might find just easy and painless. It's just on in the background. You're not even really aware of it. And there is one that's free, and it's on forgiveness. So if you sign up, I think, for the newsletter, they give you access for free to the Forgiveness Inner Talk. And who among us couldn't either forgive ourselves or forgive other people? So that's a great way to try this without any financial investment, just to see if you enjoy it, if it resonates with you. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to talk about is gratitude. The research on gratitude is profound. And if we start our day and end our day with what we're grateful for, it makes a really big difference. So I have the link to gratitude journal. And I also have the link to the Institute of Functional Medicine gratitude tips. So this is great because literally every day you write 3 things that you're grateful for. And at the top, there's a quote that just kind of is uplifting for the day. And then you write 3 things that would make today great. So imagine what a shift that's going to be in your day if you're creating the mindset of what you're grateful for, of what's going to make today great, rather than opening up our phones, scrolling through Instagram, feeling like we're not enough because we're comparing our lives to these curated lives that are not true, right? So if we take those first few minutes of the day and just set our intention, and then a daily affirmation, I am, and you just list out everything that you want to be. I am calm, I am happy, I'm focused, I am patient, whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, you write down 3 amazing things that happened that day. And then how could I have made today even better? So I really recommend, I love my gratitude journal, and that's available online as well. It's called the 5-minute journal. So let me share this and move this pop-up out of the way. But this is what it looks like, and you can get it, I think, on Amazon and also here. I think that they probably have pictures, and so if money's tight, you could probably just, write those out in your own, just on paper that you have at home. So in Dynamic Neural Retraining System, she has some really great ideas for creating more laughter in our lives. And one of them is, I didn't even know this existed, but there is a Skype laughter club. So you can literally log on at various times of the day, and there's a bunch of different people on your Skype screen. Skype is free, you can download it, and everybody is laughing. And you know how it is when you're watching babies laughing, right? You can't not laugh, you just join in. One of the things I learned in Dynamic Neural Retraining System is when you find yourself in a really stressful state or anxiety, if you just do the biggest cheeseball grin, it's like impossible to be stressed or angry when you're cheeseball grinning, because you feel so goofy, it kind of makes you laugh, but it can change the whole, just the whole energy that you're feeling. It can dissipate that stress that you're in. But I've done this a couple times, and it's hysterical. It's literally a screen full of people just belly laughing. You can also always go to YouTube and just Google laughing babies and just watch those. I mean, we've all done that, right? And you can't help but laugh out loud at these babies. So when you find yourself in pain or stressed or feeling depressed or anxious, I often work with people who have chronic illness, and they're like, I'm not stressed, Michelle. And I just have trouble believing that a chronic illness is not stressful. Those of you that have a chronic illness, I think that you know the stress. If you're living with somebody who has a chronic illness, you know the stress of that. So I don't think, I mean, if we didn't have any stress, we'd be dead, right? So all of us have some level of stress. It's important, it keeps us alive, but it's cultivating healthy stress, right? And not being sucked into the trauma drama of life that's so important. This is I just did a Google for Spotify because I didn't know how to share my list, and I don't even know all of these songs, but somebody created 100 uplifting songs. So you can get ideas like this in the Dynamic Neural Retraining System group. So if you do that, you'll get to be part of this online community, which is really cool. And they have a list where everyone just posts all of the happy music. And then some of them you're going to love, some of them are, it's not going to be your type of music. And so you need to create your own playlist of songs that you love and that make you happy. Okay, let me get back to my document to make sure that I haven't skipped over anything. So there's also a link for sound therapy. And in the movie, we're going to talk about some movies that I recommend. And on the movie Heal, this sound therapist, I have the link for that. And you actually go and you create using your own voice, something that you can bring home and listen to of things that will put your body in just a state of calm. It's really amazing in his office because he has a table where the sound literally goes through your whole body. And it's such an amazing feeling. So if you're ever in Carlsbad, check it out. But you can also purchase any of his, I think he has a bunch of CDs or MP3s that you can download and play on your own computer. Okay, so let's talk now about some of these movies that I really recommend. There's a movie called Heal, and it is available on Netflix. I guess it's been around for a while, but I just found out about it from one of my girlfriends. And she said, Michelle, if you watch this, and I said, no, I never heard of it. And so I watched it on Netflix, and if you have Netflix, it's free. You can also rent it on this website, and I have the link for that. And it's some really great people. Here's Dr. Joe Dispenza. His story is phenomenal, and his books are really amazing. But this is a really great just overview of how powerful mindset is for healing. This is an oldie, but I remember this movie often because it was so powerful, and I found that it is free on YouTube to watch. So I have the link for that, but what the bleep do we know? There's just so much valuable information, and this information doesn't go out of date. So even though it has been around for quite a few years, I think that you'll still really benefit from watching it. Another movie that I enjoyed on Netflix is called Happy, and it just talks about people all over the world and what truly makes people happy. So that is the 3 movies that I recommended. I know there's a lot more, but those are just 3 that I really enjoy. And then this is a book that I recommend to almost everyone that I work with. And I just thought it was so profound listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza's story. And this book is just full of stories about people that were ill and how their mindset played a role in getting well or staying sick. If you listen to it on Audible, he needs to have some, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he also has really great trainings that you can go for the weekend or for a week on his website. I would love to go, I haven't been. And I really enjoy everything about, but the Audible with him reading the meditation at the end, it just gave me the giggles. But if you buy the book or you buy the Kindle version, you could record yourself reading that meditation. And some of you may love it. So we all have different, I just think there's certain voices that put me in a calm meditative state and others not, but the rest of the book was just so amazing. And I'm a big fan of Audible because it's something you can listen to while you're driving or listen to when you're food prepping or cleaning up the kitchen or cleaning the house. And I really think this book is powerful. It's my favorite of his books, but he has a new one out that I haven't had a chance to read yet. When I was looking through this for all of you, I noticed that he has a new book, so I need to get on that one. This is another book that I literally listened to And then I listened to again right away because it was so profound. I heard about this book. I was listening to a podcast and the interviewer was asking the interviewee what's the one book he would take to an island, a deserted island, if he could only take one book. And he said this book. And so I thought, well, it must be pretty good. And it's really powerful. And I so wish I would have had this book when I was a teacher. But it's powerful for relationships, for parenting, for business, for all aspects of your life, for getting well, even though it doesn't say that on there. I think this is just a really powerful overview of a fixed mindset or a growth mindset and how we can cultivate that growth mindset. And you'll see after you read it or while you're reading it, you'll see areas in your life that you have the growth mindset, and you'll see areas in your life where you have the fixed mindset. It just helps you to catch it and transition it, which is really nice. Okay, so that, I think, let me just look at the list. That's an overview of most of what I have on this document. And I just noticed that everything's not perfectly, meditation should be on the next page, but we will share it with you. And it's not, doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just beneficial. Now I'm going to come over here, and Tiffany has, she has some questions here. Okay, so Patricia says, is it okay to eat kale with thyroid disease? So Patricia, my understanding of the research is that you would have to eat an awful lot of kale to impact on your thyroid. So I'm a big fan of testing because there is no one perfect diet for all of us, and there's no one perfect diet for our entire life. And I have seen people on organic acid testing that have really high levels of oxalates. And so kale, spinach, some of these healthy foods have elevated oxalates, and they can cause crystals in our body. It can cause a lot of joint pain or just pain throughout the body. And so possibly powering down kale or eating or drinking all these green drinks is not the best thing for that person. So having vegetables is critically important, but maybe shifting the type of vegetables, or there's things that you can do to support your body with processing the oxalates better. But I haven't seen a direct correlation with somebody consuming enough kale to negatively impact on your thyroid. That would be an awful lot of kale. But I have seen people powering down these green drinks where they're putting a big fistful of kale in their smoothie every day, and they have an oxalate issue. Okay, Annie says, is there a link that you can recommend for grief? And thank you, Annie, for the nice comment. I think on Inner Talk, there is something for grief. And that's a really good question. That would be something that would be really beneficial as a topic to do for a Facebook Live, because I know in those periods of grief, I think the mindset component of knowing that you need to pass through it and that you're going to come out the other side is really critically important. But working with somebody, talking to a grief counselor, I think can be really beneficial. But that's a good question. I don't just have anything on the tip of my tongue, although I do think Inner Talk maybe has something that you could listen to throughout the day. I don't know that for a fact, but it'd be worth checking out. Okay. Jackie, vitamin D levels also very helpful for mood. Absolutely. And I wish I had the book here. It's a book by Dr. Michael Halleck called The Vitamin D Solution. And he's written a textbook, but he also wrote this book for the general public. And I think the profound takeaway for me with that book is if we all had healthy levels of vitamin D, the pharmaceutical industry would have such a financial hit because there are so many things related to having insufficient vitamin D. And one of them is depression and anxiety and mood. So invest in getting your vitamin D checked. We have a vitamin D test on the website, and Tiffany can upload that link for you. And it's a test you can do at home. It's a blood spot test. And ideally, I really like to see people at least above 50, but lifeguards have a tendency to hover in the 90s because they're out in the sun all day long. So in order for us to get sun or vitamin D from the sun, we typically need to be out in the sun between 10 and 2 with full arm and leg exposure. So most of us need to take a supplement, and vitamin D, K2, vitamin A can help with absorption of vitamin D. But yes, I'm so glad you pointed that out, Annie. It's so critically important to make sure that you have healthy levels of vitamin D. And I think Dr. Halleck said that 80% of the US population is vitamin D deficient. So that's a pretty high number. I hope that that's gone down now because there's more awareness around this. But I was just talking to somebody recently, and some of these insurance companies are making it a lot harder and not covering vitamin D unless you have already a diagnosed vitamin D deficiency. How are you supposed to know that if you don't get the initial test? So these ICD-10 codes can make it tricky, but that's why Dr. Tom really wanted it available on the website so all of you would have access to that. So get your number. This is a great time because we're coming off of winter, coming into summer. So you probably haven't had a chance to build up that much in your skin yet this year, but I live in above, so it's between San Francisco and Atlanta, Georgia, that latitude line. Anything north of that latitude line, we cannot get vitamin D from the sun between October and May. So this is our chance to absorb it, but we also need to be smart, right? We don't want to go outside and burn. I still really recommend protecting your face. And I'm also on this kick right now of how important it is for all of us to go in and make an appointment with a dermatologist and get a full skin cancer check. I've had people really close and dear to me that have had melanoma scares and other skin cancer scares. Not all insurances pay for this. It's worth paying out of pocket for. I'm a big fan of paying out of pocket for getting your teeth cleaned. And now I'm more and more of a believer in this preventative for skin cancer. So just getting your skin checked and working with somebody that's really going to do a thorough check once a year, or depending on your vulnerability towards it hereditarily, maybe more frequently. Okay, let's look here. Tips for extreme fatigue. Jennifer, so asked this, and I'm sorry you're dealing with that, Jennifer. I know I was there back in my days when I had a chronic illness, so I know how miserable that can be. And I really encourage you to download this PDF at the end when we upload it and choose something on here. I know that dynamic neural retraining system can be profound for fatigue. And so I recommend something in this world of combating the stress. There's incredible stress associated with being too tired to do what you want to do. And also it can just make us have stinking thinking, right? The whole mindset thing, it can just drag you down because it's exhausting, right? So working with a functional medicine practitioner is profound to find out why. We always have to get to the root cause. There's a reason that you have extreme fatigue. So is it a chronic infection? Is it intestinal permeability? I'm just trying to think of all the things that, I mean, there's so many different things that it could be causing it. I know that there's a research article that says every single person with fatigue should be tested for celiac disease. So I'm a big fan of the wheat zoomer, obviously, because it screens for celiac disease, plus intestinal permeability, plus gluten and wheat sensitivities. So that was just some things off the cuff, but just make sure to see what resonates with you from what we've talked about today. Okay, Emily says, any Akkermansia supplement to recommend? And yes, I love the Mega Prebiotic. And I just was on the phone with that company this week because it says that it contains corn and dairy, but it's a single sugar strain that's derived from corn and dairy. And the reason why they derive it from those two sources is because it's one of the top ways to increase Akkermansia. So you can go to the website and use the code Dr. Tom and order that. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Mega Prebiotic. But yeah, this supplement is great. I like to mix it with the Mega Mucosa and the Mega Prebiotic. So let's see if I can find the exact website for it. But yes, that's the one that I recommend. And just know that there's no corn or dairy proteins. It's not genetically modified. And it's a really good source. And it's really not even, they just have to list that because it was derived from that, but there's no corn or dairy left in it. And we develop sensitivities to the protein in food. And this is a single sugar strain. So here is a picture of that. And again, it's always best to work with a practitioner who can recommend, but you can see here, this feeds beneficial bacteria like Akkermansia. And so you can click over here onto patient and you can register for account, and the code is all lowercase DRTOM, so that you can order that. Okay, let me stop share and get back over here to questions. Charlene says, what great information. Thank you. Thanks, Charlene. Have you heard of Brain Chat? I have not heard of Brain Chat, but I love learning new things. So I'm just going to put it in here and I'll search it out later. But thanks for sharing that. I would love to see more about it. Sounds great. Jason says, I did to get rid of Epstein-Barr virus. Wife has severe case, extremely sensitive to supplements and can't do PC. Is that phosphatidylcholine? Not sure what PC is, but Jason, I think dynamic neural retraining system, it's my favorite just because it's so all-inclusive, and I'm sure that there's somebody in those testimonial videos that at least one person, I'm sure I saw more, that is recovered completely with Epstein-Barr virus. And I'm also a big proponent of working with a functional medicine to get to the root causes. So I find a lot of these infections like Lyme and Epstein-Barr and all of these different chronic gut infections, it's because our immune system becomes weakened, and it can be because we have an exposure to these infections and now they've been chronic and our body's been dealing with them for so long. And so a comprehensive stool test, I love GI maps, can really help us to know what's going on in the gut. And there's a root cause. So I understand that she's been diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus, and so supporting the viral load can be important, but I'm not a fan of just like throwing antivirals at something. We sometimes do that in functional medicine. We kind of take that conventional mindset of just like, okay, here's a supplement instead of a medication. Let's just throw that at the wall and hope it sticks. But really finding out what the imbalances are in her body that's preventing her from healing, because the human body has the most fabulous capacity to heal. Know that and believe that. We just have to find out what's preventing it from doing that. So that's when testing, test don't guess, is really helpful to find out what the root cause is for her, or root causes. Jackie Smith says, you can get a home test. Can I get it in Australia? You know what, Jackie, I always feel so badly about all of these things that we recommend that are only here in the US. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know for a fact. You can email testing at theDr.com and ask. Most of the doctor's data test kits can be shipped worldwide. So I know that the stool test can be shipped worldwide. I hope that test is. It just often depends on how quickly they have to receive the test back at the lab. And if it's too short, then they don't risk it being hung up at customs. So just, email testing at theDr.com and you can find out if that test is available, or just check the website with the link and see if it says only available in the US, then unfortunately it's only available here. Any doctor can order, a naturopathic doctor, an MD, a DO, they can all order the vitamin D test under your insurance. They should be able to. But there's also, I know here in the US, there's direct labs. There's a lot of different labs that you can order online and then go to either LabCorp and Quest and have a blood draw, and you just pay the cash price. So I'm glad that this is becoming more and more available, because I think we all need to be able to have access to this information. Okay, let's keep going here. Marilyn says, I have polymyalgia and I can't seem to get off prednisone. I ate a lot of spinach and kale. Could this be a factor? It could. Polymyalgia is inflammation. So you need to find out where that inflammation is coming from. Something's causing it. If you have a lot of pain, it could be. It's great. Plains Laboratory Organic Acid Test is the test that has the oxalate marker. And I think we're working on getting that up on the website. I don't think we have it there quite yet, but I know that there's other places to order that test. And it definitely could. If you've ruled out everything else, if you've ruled out infections in the gut, if you've ruled out intestinal permeability with a wheat tumor, I get so much information from a full functional blood chemistry panel, these basic labs that any doctor can order, but looking at it from a functional medicine vantage point, because many of these reference ranges are an average of people who go in and get their blood drawn. And who gets blood draws? Sick people, right? So I'm seeing wider, like these ridiculously wide reference ranges for TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. And so looking at it from what it should be, like the ideal range, you always want to work with a practitioner who's not going to just be looking for the red out of range, but looking at the nuances for all of those tests. So I'm sure you've had sedimentation rate and C-reactive protein. And so those are just generalized markers of inflammation. You've got to find out where that inflammation is coming from. So yes, testing for oxalates could be beneficial, but I would want to see a stool test. Actually, no. I mean, that test can really help you to identify bacteria infections, yeast infections as well. It's a really comprehensive, great test. And Laura, can atherosclerosis be reversed? I have seen people turn it around. And obviously with all of these situations, it depends on the extent of the damage, but remember, our bodies want to heal. So just knowing diet is so critically important for turning that around. But there's some really great supplement protocols as well that can help to support that. Especially, I mean, there's people that have a genetic tendency towards it. So now there's so much more coming out about genes and which people do better on higher fats and which people don't do as well on higher fats. And some of these helps to get more specific with diet recommendations. But Laura, I would work with somebody who believes that it can be reversed and can help you to reverse it. Helen says, hello from London. It's late for you, Helen, or I guess early for you. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you. She has a doctor friend and she's suffering from severe inflammations in the joints. She gets cramps and pains in her stomach after eating. She ate bread. I've advised her to cut out wheat and glutens. She is in pain from inflammation of the joints and will have to take a steroid injection tomorrow. What do you recommend? She's 73. Okay, so here's the thing. If the engine light came on in your car, would you open up the hood and go in there and just cut the wire for that light so the light would turn off? Sometimes we get to the point where we have to use steroids while we're trying to figure out what's going on. But there's a root cause, there's a reason. And if she's eating gluten or bread, I mean, there's so much connection between gluten and bread and painful joints. So I would start there. In London, you have access to Cyrex Array 2 and 3X. So 2 is the intestinal permeability, 3X is the gluten and wheat sensitivity. So, you know, if she's the kind of person that needs testing, which most of us are, I'd probably still be rationalizing birthday cake on my birthday if I didn't have these tests to keep me on the straight and narrow. Many of us need these test results to hold in our hand to finally get it, right? I've gotten into the research enough where I don't want to touch gluten, but for her, I would start there. I think that could be really helpful. And it looks like that is the last question of the day, and we're at 5:02. So for those of you that hung in here for a full hour with me, thank you so much for being here. And on behalf of Dr. Tom and the entire theDr.com team, we just wish you health and abundance and happiness. Bye-bye.